All right, stats. So we're doing section 7.2, what affects the margin of error. Again, this is a very important part of what builds your confidence intervals. So to start off this section, they're going to have you do an activity talking about what the confidence level is and how it affects the margin of error. So remember, the confidence level is the percentage. All right, so go do the activity and come back. That is the first activity of 2 in this section. All right, so now that you've returned to from the activity, so again, we are going to talk about how we interpret the confidence level. So remember back in section 7.1, we interpreted the confidence interval. Now we're going to interpret the confidence level. So it says to interpret the confidence level C, say, okay, here's our memorized start. If we were to select many samples from a population, so whatever the population is, and construct a C% confidence interval using each sample, about C% of the intervals would capture the true blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this one's a little bit more wordy. Okay, but as you'll see in the next slide, we are talking about what percentage of intervals would actually capture, not how confident I am that the interval captures the value, but what percent would capture had I keep getting many random samples and getting these sample values. So say it was a mean problem. So if I got sample mean after sample mean after sample mean, and I built a confidence interval, C% of these confidence intervals would capture the true value. Okay, so again, notes here. We are describing the process, right? This confidence level describes the process used to make an interval, the process. It's not a particular interval. It's not the confidence interval interpretation. And again, the confidence level reveals how likely it is that the method we are using will produce an interval, right? It's about the process and the method. Okay, so there you go. All right, so example 1. Do you use Twitter? The Pew Internet and American Life Project asked a random sample of 5253 US adults, do you ever use Twitter or another service to share updates about yourself or see updates about others? In the sample, 19% said yes. So that is our sample proportion, right? This right here would be our p hat value. According to Pew, the resulting 95% confidence interval is here. So this is your confidence interval. Notice these are decimal numbers. They have no units because that is the percentages written as decimals. Those are proportions. 16.7% to 21.3%, right? That's our proportions written as percentages, with 19% landing right smack dab in the middle. They want us to interpret the confidence level. So again, here we go. This is wordy. I apologize. If the Pew Internet and American Life Project, right? So that's the name of the polling company, took many SRSs of U.S. adults. So that's the population of U.S. adults, and constructed 95% confidence intervals, because that's the confidence level, 95% confidence intervals. Oh, it says, and constructed a 95% confidence interval using each sample. Okay, so again, if we took many SRSs, we found many samples, and we found many sample proportion values, right? Many p-hats. And we used each p-hat value to build a 95% confidence interval, then we would suggest that about 95% of the intervals would capture the true, and now again, this is a proportion problem because I see percentages. It's not a mean problem. The true proportion of all U.S. adults, so again, all for the population of all U.S. adults who use Twitter or another service, and I'm just restating the question, or another service to share updates about themselves or C, updates about others. And again, it's just really wordy because of the question they asked, right? So they're not all going to be like this. Okay. So again, if you looked at the activity you did, you built these intervals, and sometimes as you got to the 1,000 total, sometimes the interval I think it was red, and it did not go through the mean value, the true mean value. So sometimes an interval is built and it doesn't capture because the point estimate was a little bit far off. Okay, so be aware of that. Not 100% of your intervals are going to capture your true value. But the confidence level suggests that if we built many confidence intervals, about C% of them would capture the true value. Okay. All right, great. That's objective 1. Objective 2 is coming, has a second activity in it as well.